Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, let's talk about how an avoidant acts when they feel remorse for hurting you. And we're going to break it up, the remorse for unhealed avoidants or less healed. And then we're going to talk about how avoidants who are healing show remorse, because it is different, okay? And then at the end, we're going to summarize it really quick and then we'll wrap it up, okay? So let's just jump right in. Unhealed avoidants. How do they act when they feel remorse for hurting you? Usually, they're actually avoiding the discussion. When that guilt arises, unhealed avoidants may actually avoid discussing the issue and actually may react very irritable when you bring it up. It's often due to the discomfort of their own feelings. That discomfort is guilt, right? Avoidants are not comfortable with intense feelings, and the feeling of guilt is very intense. The more they love you, the more uncomfortable it is. And that feeling that they disappointed you, avoidants are not good with disappointment either, that they failed, that they made you sad. It's very hurtful. And so what they do is they actually avoid even talking about it again because they don't want to see you getting upset all over again. Or they just don't want to feel that feeling. Usually it's both, right? And so that's why they avoid the discussion. A lot of times you guys might perceive this as they don't care. It is not that they don't care. It is genuinely that they care. Now, is it healthy? Is it right? No. I don't think it's healthy. They should be trying to get more comfortable with these feelings, but that's what we're saying. They're unhealed in terms of their avoidant attachment style, right? And so any feeling they will do this with, including guilt. Is that healthy? Is it fair? Like I'd mentioned, no. But we need to understand that that is still what's happening, because if you tell yourself it's that they don't care, you won't help get the root to the problem either. And it's not going to make things worse. It's actually kind of a cop-out, right? Saying they don't care is not fair. It makes it easier for them. They do care. They need to start accepting that, okay? The next one is downplaying the events. Oh, this is so common. I see it in couples therapy a lot, okay? They minimize what actually happened, and it stems from that guilt. It also stems from failure. If they admit, I actually did do, X, Y, and Z. You know what? I did yell at my wife, but it wasn't that bad. She was annoying me all day, right? I feel guilty that I yelled at her. I shouldn't have, but at the same time, she shouldn't have been asking me 3 or 4 times. They downplay that event. When in actuality, the wife might say, I've been holding this in for months. I've been waiting to have this conversation, but he's always so on edge. I never know what to say. And then immediately, I feel like I only said it once or twice. He just got upset. Then he stormed off. And then I got frightened. And he's like, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't storm off. I was trying to get space. When in actuality, in her mind, she was like, no, you seemed like a lot. I was actually scared. And I'm not saying you guys should tolerate or cope with this, but I'm just giving an example that might show up in therapy, right? He's downplaying it, where in actuality, sounds like to me, that was pretty serious, right? It's like, that was pretty scary. And he probably feels horrible. I mean, usually when you kind of process these things, he starts admitting, like, I feel really bad. I don't want to be this way. It's wrong that I yell at my wife. He'll start saying that slowly. And he might start by downplaying it, okay? The next one is he might make excuses, or she, but I was just talking about this example. Unhealed avoidance might create excuses for their behavior rather than owning up. This is to deflect the focus from their emotions that they're finding difficult to handle, okay? They're not deflecting on you, even though sometimes it can come out that way. It's because they really don't like feeling this emotion, so they're doing like everything to just get rid of it, right? And so let's go ahead and go back with that example we talked about, okay? Dismissive avoidant husband, maybe it doesn't matter what her attachment style is, okay? He yelled. She got hurt. She felt bad. She was bottling it up because he seems to be very sensitive about bringing things up, okay? And now he's going to make excuses. Well, I feel like it's a way she brings things up. And maybe he's right. Maybe it is a way she brings things up. But that's not no matter what, you don't have to yell at her, right? So he's making excuses. He's saying, she could have brought up a better time, or it was right when I woke up. That's not fair for me. And he could be right. But that you're still sorry you did it. Right? It's the same thing. He's making those excuses that have some validity, but it's not really what he feels either. It's a lie to himself. What does he actually feel? He actually feels bad that it happened, and he's trying to take it off himself. Well, I don't need to be so hard on myself because I just woke up. It was just too early, or she brought it up too many times, or we know that's a touchy subject of mine. He starts making those excuses, but it doesn't mean he doesn't care. Broken promises, okay? Now, this is not like it's on purpose. I get that, okay? But a lot of times they might make promises to change their behavior, but it's not followed through, but it's because of their struggle of guilt, okay? Obviously, if maybe he admits, okay, I'll change. I'm not going to yell anymore. I'm going to hear you out. I'm going to do better. But he's still making excuses and he's still downplaying it and he's avoiding the discussion. obviously he's not doing the things that he needs to do to follow through that promise. So the promise will be broken. And then his wife in this example, right? Avoidants are not all men. Okay. It's just an example. She's going to feel more disappointed and the cycle is going to continue. So often he's going to feel even more uncomfortable with making promises. So now he withholds making promises. So at first he breaks that promise and now he's going to stop making promises, and the progress for him even resulting is going to get worse and worse and worse until he realizes that he's got to get more comfortable with failure, right? The broken promise issue is his fear of failure. That's why with unhealed avoidance this happens. You're going to fail. If you promise your wife to never yell again, that's just not going to happen. If this is what you've been doing your whole life, yelling at people, not being comfortable with emotions, you're probably going to yell at her again. It's scary. But it's true. You got to admit that that's part of the process. And if she stays with you, she might leave. I don't know, right? But it's going to happen. You have to get more comfortable dealing with that. That's what he needs to understand for this particular example, right? And so you as a partner, what you can do is clarify in general, I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I'm not expecting you to follow through every single time. All I want is a little bit of progress. And I see that you're doing that. Something along those lines if they are doing that, okay? The next one is that they might actually attempt to alter the reality of the situation. Some of them might actually even manipulate. This might even be gaslighting. It depends, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it could just be they don't remember the reality because they're in so much denial. So what happens is you might say, you yelled at me. And they might say, I didn't yell. What are you talking about? I was just talking really loud, right? And so they're starting to slowly alter the reality. You're too emotional. You worry too much. Like, I didn't yell like that, right? I was just irritated because I woke up. I wasn't yelling at you. I was yelling at the fact that I have to wake up for work, right? So they're kind of changing the tone of what really happened, and you're going to be even more confused. And so if that happens, make sure that you clarify, hey, I don't remember it like that. Maybe you do, but I remember waking up. I waited until you got your coffee. I, took my time. I knew that you would go late to the office today, so I thought this was a good time to have this conversation because I knew it would be a short day for you, and I know later today we have to do X, Y, and Z, so we wouldn't have time. So I thought we could have a little bit of that conversation this morning. That's what I remember. I felt like I was calm, and I feel like you got really angry, you yelled at me, and then you left the room. That's what I remember. Maybe I'm wrong. You say it like that so that they can understand that your perspective is valuable. They can't change that. Even if they're so uncomfortable and they really want to, they can't. And the last one, in severe cases, they may break up with you. I'm going to be honest, and I'm always honest on this channel, okay? When they feel remorse for hurting you, sometimes they break up because they feel like it's easier to break up instead of confront the feelings of guilt and failure. Okay. Let's talk about a healed avoidant. What do they do? Not healed, healing, and healed, whatever you want to talk about. The first one is they actually do apologize. They do genuinely apologize. They acknowledge their mistakes, and they do express feeling remorse. If it's in the middle of the argument, they might say it a little bit more harshly. I said, I'm sorry. How much more times do you want me to say it? I am sorry. I really am. I don't want to do that again. Do you think that makes me feel good? Yelling at you? I feel horrible. I feel like a terrible husband. Let's say we go back to that example, right? But they are still apologizing. Then later they might even say, I'm sorry for yelling at you. I don't want you to be scared of me. Like, I feel really bad. I know I struggle with anger. I don't want to do that again, okay? So hold me to it. Trust me, but this is what I want to do, right? Explaining. The next one is explaining to add clarification. Healing avoidance may still try to explain it, but it's without making excuses. So it's very similar, right? Let's say this husband again, he said, you know what? I think part of the reason I was irritated was because it was still early in the day and I knew I had to go into work later. For me, I think it would have been easier if we talked about it after work or on a weekend. I do think that's part of it. That doesn't mean it's right that I yelled at you, but I also want you to know I think a part of it was that. I think next time what we can do, and I'm still going to work on my anger, but next time what we can do is maybe bring up this conversation after work. I know you tried. I still think the timing wasn't great, but that's on me. I shouldn't have yelled, right? They add clarification so that you don't feel like it's a burden, but you also feel like you know what to do next so that you guys as a couple can make things work, okay? The next one is visible efforts to change. This is something that happens. And for this type of example, this husband yelling at his wife example, I actually see change typically with couples like right away. He might, and you're going to have to see if he continues to do so. But he might, the second he comes back home, he might be more gentle with her. He might be trying to be more patient. He might say, I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying. He might be more affectionate. And it's not because it's temporary. It's because he's saying, I don't want you to be afraid of me. I am here. And you continue to watch. Is this improvement continuously going through as a commitment? Take note of that. And the next one is seeking recognition. Now, this is the final piece of this, right? They have made a change. They are doing better. And now they're saying, hey, do you acknowledge my efforts? You know how I used to be like that? I used to be upset. And I know that's the bare minimum. But I want you to see, I don't even do that anymore. No matter what, a couple days ago, we woke up early and we got into a little bit of a disagreement, but I didn't yell. In fact, I feel like I was very open. And so they're seeking that recognition from you. So let's go ahead and summarize and then wrap it up, okay? Unhealed avoidance, they tend to avoid the discussion, downplay the events, make excuses, broken promises, and they may even break up with you, okay? However, healing avoidance actually may apologize. They may try to explain to add clarification. There actually is visible efforts of change and you can see it. And after they make some change, they want to and they expect recognition. They're seeking recognition. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.